shake your booties for black girl nerds.
Octavia, what I really loved about Ma is that she's a character, even though she's really creepy and very disturbing, she's actually kind of relatable. And I don't know how I feel about that because I felt kind of connected to her in some way. Was that the intention, to have her connect with the audience where they could identify with her?
You know, it's funny that you should say that. I think the reason why she's relatable is because at one point or another, we have all felt like the person on the outside looking in. All of us. And that's why she feels relatable. All the gruesome stuff that she does isn't relatable to who we are as people. But that person wanting to be loved, wanting to be the center of attention, you know, just wanting to be a part of the party, the life of the party for once. I think that's relatable. So no, you're not crazy.
Good to know. And like, speaking of relatability, there's also this theme of rejection, which we've all been through it in some point of our lives. How do you deal with rejection? And then is there too much to fitting in? Because she's someone that wants to fit in.
I think you become an adult when you realize you don't have to fit in. You become an adult when you realize, and usually that doesn't happen until you're like 30, when you stop thinking about how other people perceive you and living in your own skin. But because Sue Ann had this trauma as a teenager, she never really evolved mentally, as you see. Otherwise, she would not make the choices that she makes to befriend teenagers. So my heart broke for her a little bit. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that she didn't really evolve mentally. It looks like she didn't quite evolve with her hairstyle, because her hairstyle as a child looks very similar to her as an adult.
I love you for saying that, because that's what we wanted to show.
Okay.
You know, and she was a product of her time. And during her time, you know, the Facts of Life and Dorothy Hamill and all those women, that was the fashion for her. And so when she started hanging out with these kids, she updated her look, and it was more Paula Abdul from the 80s.
Right.
She never really updates. She never really evolves.
Right.
And I love nerds, because you guys, let me just give you a high five. I love you.
We look at things like that.
I do too. So do I. In character development, that's one of the things that I wanted.
Excellent. Sue Ann, she reminds me of so many deranged characters from horror films. There's movies like Fatal Attraction and Misery and even Carrie. Do you find that she's like an amalgamation of all of these characters, or do you see her as in a class of her own?
I don't want to draw comparisons, but I know that will happen. But I did do a lot of research on certain issues, and because people who have certain issues, they're symptomatic of a bigger problem. So that's one of the reasons I think, you know, she is reminiscent of those characters that you named. But each of them is also quite unique.
Yeah. There's this scene, I'm not going to spoil it, but it involves a needle and thread. And it was scary, and I had to actually look away. How did you go through that without like being nauseous? Because it was really disturbing.
Well, all of the gruesome stuff was done at the end of our shooting, and that was actually the hard part. Yeah, but in Ma's mindset, she takes something from each of those kids, the thing that they value most. So it wasn't hard for Ma.
Right.
For me, it was interesting.
Yeah. Is there a scene that resonates with you the most while doing this?
The whole project, actually. The whole project in and of itself resonates with me. I think it's a cautionary tale.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for black girl nerds.